Welcome to Conversations. Perhaps I have good news for you. I had just, as you all aware, some of you who are watching Conversations regularly, I was traveling to Baltimore today to give a talk on Indian democracy and recently held statewide elections to a large gathering in Baltimore. And I just came back and I found that Donald Trump had made this interesting Truth Social post, which was also shared by the White House. So we seem to have a good news. Let me share. First, this is what the White House shared. An agreement has been largely negotiated, subject to finalization between the United States of America, the Islamic Republic of Iran, and the various other countries as listed President Donald J. Trump. So what is interesting is that he's referring with quite a lot of respect to the Islamic Republic of Iran, so he's making this announcement on this is that was the White House Twitter page, and this is the basic announcement. Let me read out to you what Donald Trump said, and then we can talk about it. He says, "I'm in the Oval Office at the White House, where we just had a very good call with President Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan of the United Arab Emirates, Amir Tamim bin Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani." They made sure that they spelled all of this right, etc. So he spoke with all the Gulf rulers, and then he spoke with Field Marshal Sayyid Asim Munir of Pakistan. My God, they spelled his full name. They spoke with Rajab Tayyip Erdogan of Turkey, Abdul Fattah al-Sisi of Egypt, King Abdullah of Jordan, King Hamad bin Isa of Bahrain. So all the Gulf rulers, the 6 of them, followed by the Turkish President Erdogan, the King of Jordan, and of course the hero of the event, Marshal Sayyid Asim Munir. So he spoke to all of these people. This was a conference call on the phone, obviously, and apparently, according to Axios, with whom he actually had a phone call afterwards. So, according to the Axios interview, Hitesh, hi to you too, namaste. I mean, Hitesh is always the first to comment. So, what he did on this phone call was that he was encouraged by all of these people. This is important, that all of these people to accept the deal and end the misery that the rest of the global economies are experiencing. And then he says, separately, I had a call with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel, which likewise went very well. Final aspects and details of the deal are currently being discussed and will be announced shortly. In addition to many other elements of the agreement, the Strait of Hormuz will be opened. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So clearly he's elevated, he's feeling optimistic. He missed his son's marriage for this particular thing. His son was getting married in some island, private island in Bahamas. Donald Trump did not go to the wedding, and so he stayed in the White House. It was interesting that he was in the White House. Marco Rubio was in India. Pete Hegseth was giving a talk at a college. West Point is the most premier of American war colleges. I have spoken there on more than one occasion. And J.D. Vance was in Ohio. So it's interesting that all of these guys were gone and Trump was left home alone in the White House. Anyway, so they all rushed back. Apparently, they had a meeting. And so there are videos of J.D. Vance rushing back to the White House from Ohio. But this is the announcement that he has made. Now, and after that, there was another tweet, with effectively from Shehbaz Sharif. And this is what Shehbaz Sharif, he was in China. And if you recall, I made the point that it was interesting that the Pakistanis are dividing the chore. Shehbaz Sharif was in China while Asim Munir was in Tehran negotiating the final deal. And I think Shehbaz Sharif was in China. Basically, he was negotiating between China and Iran and also perhaps reporting to the US. So he was the connection between US and China, Iran and China. Of course, the Iranians speak directly with the Chinese. So this is what Shehbaz Sharif had to say. He said, where is it? Here it is. I congratulate President Donald Trump on his extraordinary efforts to pursue peace and for holding a very useful and productive telephone call earlier today with the leaders of all of those countries. Field Marshal Syed Asim Munir represented Pakistan in the telephone call, and I greatly appreciate his tireless efforts during the entire process. The discussions provided a useful opportunity to exchange views on the current regional situation and how to move the ongoing peace efforts forward to bring lasting peace in the region. Pakistan will continue its peace efforts with utmost sincerity, and we hope to host the next round of talks very soon. So, if you look at Shehbaz Sharif's post, it doesn't say what Donald Trump is saying. Donald Trump is saying that the negotiations are nearly complete. We're just ironing out the details. Shehbaz Sharif says, wonderful phone call. He's not saying anything else. He's saying this phone calls helps us go forward. It's a big deal for Donald Trump to be able to get all those leaders on one call. I mean, can you imagine? He's got 7 kings, one president, and two presidents, and one field marshal on the phone call, right? So about 10 Arab and Muslim leaders, and then speaks with Netanyahu to get, well, he's the president of the US. No one is not going to take the call. But it's such a big deal, really. And Shehbaz Sharif makes it out as if it's just another call. So I think Shehbaz Sharif is afraid to say anything new. I think a message has been sent. If there is going to be any major announcement to be made, the announcement will be made by Donald Trump. Nobody dared to make any announcement. I suppose that must be the rule with all of these people. So, what are the agreements? So, Donald Trump is saying the Strait of Hormuz will open. What he's not saying is what are the terms and conditions. The Iranians said, wait a minute. Yes, the Strait of Hormuz. In fact, apparently 25 ships were allowed by the Iranians to go through today. So, yes, the Strait of Hormuz will be open, but it will be under Iranian control. That's what Fars, the Iranian newspaper or news agency, was reporting, that Iranians wanted to correct what Donald Trump said, that they are not going back to how it was in February before US and Israel attacked Iran. Yes, the Strait of Hormuz will be open, but under Iranian control, which means some countries will be paying tolls, some countries will not be paying tolls. In fact, one of the proxies for the Iranians said very clearly, we will decide who goes in and who goes out and under what terms and conditions. So basically, the Iranians are insisting that they will exercise complete sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz. The second thing is that there is no agreement on the nuclear issue at the moment. So what they're going to do is probably tomorrow or later, day after tomorrow, in a couple of days, because Trump doesn't have patience. The Iranians have unlimited amount of patience. So the Iranians will keep delaying it as much as they like, but Trump wants this. Trump wants the markets to go up tomorrow. So he on Monday, so he wants some kind of a paper agreement. So the agreement will say this is the framework under which we agree to negotiate, and this is the terms of the ceasefire, and then they will iron out the details. So, for example, they may say the Strait of Hormuz. We both agree that the Strait of Hormuz will open without any tolls by Iran, but under Iranian management. Right? Now, what does Iranian management mean? Now, that will be negotiated during the deal, in which it will say, okay, Iran can, like the Chinese have said, that Iran can charge some environmental protection fees or maintenance fees or clearing fees or whatever. But don't call it a toll, call it something else. And Donald Trump and I think Marco Rubio will live with that if this ends the war. And so the Iranians, instead of saying we're collecting toll, they're saying we are security management, we're going to keep the Strait of Hormuz clean and blah, blah, blah. And for that, we're going to charge $1 million a boat every time it goes to the Strait of Hormuz. I think that's what I anticipate going forward, that there will be some broad agreement. There will, of course, have to be something that Donald Trump can show about the nuclear enrichment and nuclear stockpile. So it is possible they might say that Iran agrees to defer or stop the nuclear enrichment process temporarily, and they will negotiate what that temporarily means: 5 years, 10 years, 12 years, 20 years. And as far as the uh, enriched uranium, that 1,000 pounds, about 400 plus kilos that they have of 60% enriched uranium, the Iranians are saying they will keep it and they will dilute it. They will mix it up and reduce the degree of enrichedness. So it's 60% pure, they'll try and make it less. That is unacceptable at the moment to the US, but it's quite possible the Iranians may say that we will keep it in Iran, but under Russian condition. Whatever it is, under somebody else's control. IAEA perhaps will have some kind of a 24-hour monitoring of those, whatever. So those details will be worked out later, but for the moment, all they're going to do is have some kind of an agreement so that Donald Trump can say, look, I have now an agreement that Iran will not have a nuclear weapon because they've agreed to my conditions on the nuclear enrichment as well as nuclear enriched stockpiles, and the Strait of Hormuz is open. So then he can go away. Of course, there are two problems. One of the problems is the people in America who live under the illusion that they are loyal only to Israel and not to America, like Senator Lindsey Graham or Senator Ted Cruz. I mean, they have already announced that this is not a good deal. Both Ted Cruz actually wants Donald Trump to continue bombing Iran. He thinks it was a great idea. He's the guy who says the only reason why he ran for the U.S. Senate was to protect Israel. And he thinks that will make him the president of the United States because the only reason why he's in politics is to advance Israeli interests. Nitin Chopra, thank you very much for your present. And then Lindsey Graham, the senator from South Carolina, who's probably going to lose his election this year, he also seems very unhappy and he's lying. Just go and take a look at his tweet. I kind of deleted his tweet, but let me see if I can bring it back. And especially if you see what Donald Trump tweeted and what this fellow from Lindsey Graham is tweeting. Let me show it to you, and you will realize what I'm saying. So this is what Lindsey Graham said. It is perceived in the region that a deal with Iran allows the regime to survive and become more powerful over time. We will have poured gasoline on the conflicts in Lebanon and Iraq. A deal that is perceived to... Now, this is so rubbish. He's saying it's perceived in the region. Who the hell in the region is telling Lindsey Graham that they disagree with it? He should come out and say, who is it? Is it the Emir of UAE? Is it MBZ, Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan? Is he the guy? Who is telling him this? Obviously, it's the Israeli lobby. Because Donald Trump was on the phone with all those kings. And they encouraged him to accept the deal. And so this is what I mean by these pro-Israeli voices in this country are such big liars. And then he says, if a deal is struck to end the Iranian conflict because it is believed that the Strait of Hormuz cannot be protected from Iranian terrorism and Iran still possesses the capability to destroy major Gulf oil infrastructure, then Iran will be perceived as being a dominant, it should be, Lindsay, get your spellings right, dominant force requiring a diplomatic solution. So basically, these guys are just unhappy that there is peace. These are warmongers. They want to see more bloodshed, more school children killed, more murders, more thousands of people. They are salivating at their mouth at the possibility of dropping bombs and killing more people in Iran like they did in Gaza. Anyway, so that's the point. So one of the questions is, how is Netanyahu taking it? So there was an interesting question, this is how Donald Trump answered it. Just listen to it.
Very, very good man. He'll do whatever I want.
What have you said to Prime Minister Netanyahu about Iran and how long to hold off on strikes?
He's fine. He'll do whatever I want him to do. He's very, very good man. He'll do whatever I want him to do, and he's a great guy. To me, he's a great guy. Don't forget, he was a wartime prime minister.
So Donald Trump said it twice that he will do whatever I tell him to do. I want you to listen to this again. I've never seen Donald Trump being so emphatic about it.
What, what have you said to Prime Minister Netanyahu about Iran and how long to hold off on
He's
strikes?
fine. He'll do whatever I want him to do.
He will do whatever I want him to do. So basically, this is one of the things. There was an article in the New York Times which says that Donald Trump has completely sidelined Netanyahu during these negotiations. Netanyahu didn't even know what was going on. Obviously, all these Americans are all spies for Israel. Like Mike Huckabee, the ambassador, whatever he knows, I'm sure he must be running to Netanyahu to let him know what Trump is doing. People in Trump's own cabinet will be telling him exactly what he needs to know. And so I'm sure there is no security on information as far as Netanyahu is concerned. All of these people, even American senators, imagine Lindsey Graham and these guys not reporting to this. Even during the negotiations, during the ceasefire, when J.D. Vance was in Islamabad, he was reporting. He actually, the phrase was used that he was reporting to Trump and to Netanyahu, as if Netanyahu is his boss. So anyway, look, Donald Trump has said many times that, oh, I have this deal. Iran is going to surrender. We have unconditional surrender. We have destroyed the Navy. The Hormuz is open, blah, blah, blah. So it is quite possible we may wake up tomorrow and day after tomorrow, and then Donald Trump says, oh, the Iranians are crazy. They are nuts. They didn't do anything. I'm going to bomb Iran. I'm going to destroy civilization. I'm going to end their existence, blah, 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 which he said actually. At the moment, he's telling the reporter that there's a 50-50 chance. So I find it, he's like a child, so excited that he went forward and made this announcement. But what is important is that he was able to have this. I don't think he's had a single phone call with all these 10 leaders on the phone, 6 leaders of the Gulf, Egypt, Turkey, Pakistan, and Jordan. So 10, 6 plus 4, 10 heads of states from there. And then he spoke with Netanyahu. So basically, he spoke with 11 heads of states today in 2 phone calls. And that is some achievement to be able to get them all together and then come out and say, and there's nobody else who's disagreeing with him from any of these countries. Yes, the Iranians are trying to clarify something, but they're not coming. Like I went and checked before I spoke to you guys. I checked with Abbas Araghchi, the foreign minister's Twitter, nothing there. The speaker has something which kind of probably was before Donald Trump said this. So there's nothing about them saying, the Iranian saying that we are just around the corner from an agreement. And so that is going to be interesting. One of the persons who commented here said that he lives in Dubai, I think, and he says that he's a businessman who negotiates with Iranians regularly, has been doing so for many, many years. And he said that, oh my God, they are so stubborn, and they're very rational, very thoughtful, very meticulous, and very, very stubborn negotiators. It was an interesting observation from one of the watches of conversations. All right, so there is Nitin Chopra 557 has a comment. Let me read and see what it is. Sir, is Trump's geopolitical policies are long-term, beyond mid-term, or USA will course correct in future, and will India purchase new tech like F-35 jet? Several questions. Okay, there's no geopolitical policies. Like, for example, he promised there would be no war with Iran. He promised that he's going to be the president of peace. He doesn't even talk about the Nobel Prize anymore after attacking Iran twice. But he needs money and from the Israeli lobby, and his greed has no end. It's amazing. All of him and all his children are billionaires, but they're still chasing money. So I really don't think he has any long-term strategy at all in terms of foreign. At least before the last 1 year, he at least had a vision of America first, bringing manufacturing to America, ending trade imbalances with many of the countries. None of that exists now. The Supreme Court just trashed his tariff policy, Nitin, and nothing else is left. So I don't think he has. He's not even focused on the midterm. If he was focused on trying to win the midterm election, then he wouldn't be pulling the stunts he's pulling, especially this deal to give $1.8 billion to all the people who basically tried to invade the capital last in January 2021. So that's upset a lot of Republicans, and then this war would not have he would not have started this war if he was desperate to win the midterm election. I think he just decided, I don't care anymore. My term is over. I'll be gone. And your second question about F-35. Well, India was offered F-35 when Narendra Modi came to meet Donald Trump in February last year. I think they met on 4th of February, and Trump told him that he should buy F-35s. In fact, they want India to buy as much as India wants. Really, they will sell India hundreds if India wants to buy that, because they want to reduce the trade deficit with India. India has about $50 billion worth of trade deficit. So it cost about $1 billion each. So maybe they could buy 50 F-35s. But the Indian, I spoke with, if you remember, I spoke with an Indian general and on my show, and there's a genuine fear in some countries that the Americans have a kill switch on F-35s and F-16s, which means that if America tells you don't go to war against, say, Pakistan, and India decides, well, no, it's in our interest to do it, and if they go to war against Pakistan, then America can turn the F-35s off. Sounds like science fiction movies, but I mean, it's a serious discussion among people who talk about American technology. So there's this rumor going on that there is a kill switch on the F-16s, there is a kill switch on the F-35s, so people don't want to buy it. The more serious answer is that while it is battle proven, the Israelis have used it incredibly well, but there's no potential challenge that they have really faced. Not a single country that Israel or the US have attacked with F-35s has the S-400 that India has and the Russians make, right? So we don't know how well F-35 will do against S-400s and S-500s. The Australians wanted to buy F-35, and then after some reviews, they moved to F-18, I think, or F-22, and they didn't buy F-35. It's too expensive, very expensive to buy, very expensive to maintain, and it's not as fast as, say, the Raptor. So I don't know, we'll see. India had the offer and India declined to buy F-35. India was all this, give us GE engines, we will make Tejas 2, and then they were talking about getting Rafales technology or getting Su-57. India wants technology. India wants to buy technology. India is not investing in research. India is not investing in... Modi talks a lot about Atmanirbhar and this and that, but India wants to buy technology. They're just shopping around. And remember, there was this deal with 42 Rafales or $40 billion worth of Rafales after Operation Sindoor. And then we found out that the French are not going to hand over the source code to India. So India cannot attach Indian-made missiles to the Rafale fighters. So that deal is also, I think, a question mark now. So India went around, if you remember, they went and bought some old Jaguars from Oman. Basically, Oman was putting those Jaguars away, basically scrapped. India bought those. So yeah, it's an issue with F-35. So once again, the Russians are talking about co-producing Su-57s, which is a 5th generation fighter. I don't know how good Su-57. It has not made a difference in the war in Iran with Ukraine. If it was such a look, this entire war that Americans and Israelis fought against Iran, the main hero is the F-35. I mean, they are using F-15s, F-16s, and others also, but the main attack is from F-35. But with Ukraine, The Su-57 of Russia did not. Russia could never establish air dominance in Ukraine. That's the point of having a fifth-generation fighter. You want to establish air dominance, and that did not happen. Pyasa Shaitan, he's a member of Conversations. Thank you for being a member. Pyasa Shaitan means thirsty devil. Thirsty devil, I think he drinks a lot of beer, I guess. What will happen to Indian economy after that? If the Strait of Hormuz opens, then it's good for India. But something else happened. I just glimpsed that Marco Rubio saying that India is going to buy $500 billion worth of stuff from the US. If India is going to be buying US oil, it'll be interesting to see. Then its dependence on the Iraqi, UAE, Saudi oil will go down. But if the sanctions are lifted over Iran, then India can buy Iranian oil too. It'll be cheaper, and most of India's refineries are designed for Gulf oil. But it also depends on whether Iran will charge a toll on the ships coming to India or not. After Modi went and said, I stand with Israel and with UAE, he went to UAE just now. He has condemned Iran, Modi, but not US, never Israel. Has blocked resolutions in BRICS as well as SCO. No condemnation of Israel for attacking Iran. If in spite of all of this, and remember Iran just shot and sank an Indian ship. So will Iran give concession to India or charge India the $2 million toll? We don't know what it will be. In the past, they said 2 million. In the past, they also said 1 million. Whatever the toll is. So if there's a toll on ships coming to India, then the cost will go up and it will remain up. But the Indian economy is not affected that much because the price of at least petrol and diesel has not gone up. It has gone up twice, but not by too much, like 3 rupees and then some paisa, 1 more rupee, like 4 rupees. That's not much really. It is more expensive, but it is not as devastating as some other countries. Like in the US, it has gone up by $1.50 for most people. So that should not affect the Indian economy bad. But what could impact the Indian economy is that if India continues to buy from the Gulf or anywhere else, even from the US, the rupee will be down, and that will make the Indian GDP less because the dollar, once you measure the GDP in dollars, it will look smaller because right now it's about 96, 97 rupees to the dollar. So that's how. But it's good. What would have had a negative impact on Indian economy is if this blockade was extended into June, July. So Geeta Gopinathan, the former managing director of IMF, who's now back at Harvard as professor, she gave a long interview to Rajdeep Sardesai on India Today. Go and listen to her. She laid out what the challenges are there to the Indian economy. Rubio, I will do the show on Rubio tomorrow morning. Like I said, I did 2 shows already on Hindi. My prediction was right. He's not coming to revive Quad. He was coming to basically sell oil. He's an oil salesman. and of course, he made a big deal of going to Mother Teresa's place. He's a Catholic. So a lot of Christian groups which feel that they are being harassed and abused by Hindutva thugs, there'll be some pressure on Hindutva thugs don't attack Christian organizations, because Marco Rubio, that's the message he was trying to send to India, that I'm looking at Christian organizations. And Jilani Sabun Saab saying that Honorable President Donald J. Trump is doing great with diplomacy, staying at office. Yeah, he missed his son's wedding. He must be thinking, oh, I'll catch the next one. Anyway. Okay. We'll see what happens with the Quad. The test of the Quad is if Donald Trump comes to India or not. It's quite possible that He may not come to India this year, and then he may go to Australia next year when the Quad. This actually it was supposed to. The presidency of Quad should have gone to Australia by now, but because nothing really happened and Trump didn't come, the Australians were nice enough to tell India, okay, continue being president of Quad. But actually, India's term as the leader of the Quad is over. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Thank you, Karan Khurana, KK. World Info, good morning to you. I don't know, World Info. I like Imran Khan as a fast bowler. Oh my God, those Insingwas. The way he bowled Venk Sarkar, if you remember in the Test series. Yes, and he was a good batsman. He's batting in the finals of the 1992 World Cup, in which he made, I think, 72. So, in fact, I think Imran Khan was a better batsman than all the other four all-rounders. He was the straightest bat. Even though Kapil Dev was quite exciting and Botham was quite exciting. Richard Hadley was the worst batsman of these four all-rounders. But I think Imran was the straightest batsman. And obviously, he was the fastest of them all, four bowlers. So, yes, I was a big fan of Imran Khan. In fact, for many years, I used to be an all-rounder too. But his politics I didn't like. And you know what? He tried to pretend to be an honest politician, but he came to power the same way as all other Pakistani politicians do, with the help of the army. And then he tried to kind of go after the army. And so, yes, as a politician, I don't like Imran Khan too. As a cricketer, of course, I'm a big fan of his. All I don't know what you mean, Sunny. The U.S., even if it is true that Donald Lu told the Pakistani ambassador to remove Imran Khan through vote of no confidence, it was all the Pakistani parliamentarians who did it, right? The vote of no confidence was passed by the Pakistanis. So it's the Pakistanis who removed him. The Americans say, like, for example, and there are many heads of state, like Trump doesn't like so many people. They don't like Raul Castro. Are the Cubans getting rid of him? No. But Americans are openly saying we don't want Raul Castro in Cuba. There are many other leaders that Trump doesn't like. He doesn't like the German president. He doesn't like Starmer anymore. He doesn't like Macron. But the French parliaments are not removing him. So I don't think you should blame the U.S. for getting rid of Imran. It's his army, it's his generals, and it's his parliamentarians, his country people who got rid of him. Anyway, so thank you very much for watching Conversations. Come back. I will do another show tomorrow morning, essentially reviewing Rubio. But I want to let you know that I recorded a very interesting and thought-provoking interview, nearly 40 minutes, with Ambassador Talmiz Ahmed. We talked with several things. We talked about BRICS. We talked about Quad. And we talked about Rubio's visit. We also talked about Trump's visit to Beijing with Xi Jinping. So we did a comprehensive review of the recent developments with Ambassador. And as usual, he's brilliant. I'm a big fan of Ambassador Talmiz Ahmed. I will have that video up and running in about 4 or 5 hours. Like I said, I just came back home and I will be editing it tonight. And then sometime in the morning or tomorrow, for India time, it will be around 9:30 p.m. US time, it will be about noon. I will do a review of Marco Rubio's visit to India. So thank you for watching Conversations. Please subscribe to the channel, like this video, press the bell icon, and consider becoming a member of Conversations. And Nitin Chopra, thank you very much for your present. Bye.